Intrepid Studios just held their March 2022 development update stream for their upcoming MMORPG, Ashes of Creation, and as always, I got a lot to talk about and, of course, show, including the Alpha 2 character creator, and you definitely don't want to miss that. Chapter markers will be below. Let's jump on in. Starting off with a studio update, things seem to be going very well at Intrepid Studios, and up to this point in 2022, Intrepid has hired 20 new developers. Their goal for the entirety of 2022 is to have a little over 200 people working at Intrepid Studios, and to put that in some perspective, according to Polygon.com, World of Warcraft was created by a team of 40, which doubled in size as launch drew close. Before getting into the character creator, Steven gave us some quick information on the races. A lot of this information is already known, but let me quickly go over it. There will be 9 separate character races, each of which will have their own defined cultural influence. When you don armor, the race that you're playing will have an effect on some of that armor's appearance. When a node is being developed, the architecture of the node will be influenced by the races of players that are helping to contribute to the node's development. So a node that has a lot of orc players in the area will show some clear signs of orc cultural influence on the node's architecture and just general appearance. Factions will have their own affiliations with particular races, and also each race will have different nomenclature, and you'll see language influences on dialogue trees, and in general, the way that characters speak, you'll be able to tell what particular race they are from. Now on to the fun stuff, the Alpha 2 character creator. But before we get into it, I want to let you guys know that Steven said that we're going to be able to create our characters before the actual launch of Ashes of Creation. So it seems like we're going to have access to the character creator so we can take our time and really iron out the details and make the perfect first character for our adventure before the game even launches, which is really, really cool. Also note that this is, of course, an unfinished character creator right now. This is Intrepid's first pass. There's several features missing, and also the UI is not final. The 2 races that we got to see in the character creator were the Vek Orcs, which you are seeing right now, and also the Kalar Humans. In this version of the character creator, to change your race, you click on one of the large square icons on the right side of the screen. The Vek Orcs are represented by the bottom icon, and the Kalar Humans are on the top. Once you click, you'll see an animation to where the race currently selected will disintegrate into ash, which is of course a part of the lore, especially when relating to character death. On the top of the character creator, we can see Origins, Appearance, Blend, and Sculpt. The Origins tab is where we are now, and you'll also notice in the bottom left that there is a randomize button, and clicking on this will of course randomly shuffle and create a variety of different looking player characters. Have a look. Now let's take a look at the Appearance tab. And some of this at first might seem a little basic, but I really encourage you guys that are watching to keep watching to at least let me get to the Blend and Sculpt tab before you leave, because it gets pretty crazy. Over on the right, we have a tab for body, head, face, and details. And on the body tab, we can see body preset, body type, and skin. The body preset allows you to currently choose between 7 different presets, and then after that you can work on your character in much further detail. The body type tab has sliders for height, weight, chest, crotch, and the name is subject to change, and bottom, which I believe is your butt. And the skin option has a wrinkle slider and 3 different base skin colors to choose from, where you can alter the hue and pigmentation with sliders. The wrinkle slider is where you can really work on your character's age, and as you can see, you can really make them look quite old. Under the head tab, we have face preset, hair, and beard. There's 5 different hairstyles, which is of course subject to change, but the interesting part here is that you can control individual aspects to a particular hairstyle. So if you choose the long hair option, you can move the length slider to make it even longer and of course shorter. 3 below the length, you can choose your fill color, which is for the most part the root color of your hair. Then you can also mess with the accent color, which is basically the tips of your hair. Above this, the contrast slider will affect the strength between the 2 colors if you choose 2 colors, and the gradient slider will shift the dominance of a color and how much it takes up surface area wise. These 2 sliders are where you can work on giving your character something such as a salt and pepper look. In the beard tab, we can see 3 different presets for chin beard, 3 different presets for cheek beard, and also a mustache category. I'm not sure what the 3 means here, but I'm assuming it means there are more presets to choose from. I don't know. Like with the hair, you can further alter these presets, such as the length of the beard with the chin length slider, the length of the cheek beard with the cheek length slider, and then also the size of your mustache. Below this, we also have the color choice and contrast and gradient sliders like we did with the hair. When clicking on the face tab, we can get into the eyes and facial features. For eyes, we can currently choose between 3 different irises and also alter their color. Some of these features will be individual race specific, and that includes for their colors as well, so make sure to keep that in mind. Currently, there is not an option to make things asymmetrical, but Intrepid has talked about it, and it seems like it will eventually be an option in the character creator. Under facial features, we have several different presets to choose from. Forehead presets, brows, eyes, ears, cheeks, mouth, and more. In the details tab, we can alter our character's nail color, which goes for hands and feet. And we of course cannot leave out the tattoos tab, and Intrepid has done something really interesting here. As you can see, you can drag a tattoo onto your character's body and place it wherever you would like. After that, you can drastically alter its angle, size, and strength, which is how dominant the color is on your body. Very cool for an MMO, and actually really cool for any RPG in general. There's also an option to control the tattoo's colors, of course. Also in the tattoos tab, you'll find options for scars, and they work in a similar way as the tattoos do. You drag a scar on top of your character wherever on the body you would like to have that scar, and then you can alter its angle, size, and strength. Moving on to the blend tab, this is where you can blend several different presets together if you don't necessarily want to get into insane detail. You can do this by first dragging the appearance presets of your choice up to the circle on top, and then you click and drag on dots on your character's face, and I'm assuming body as well, and depending on which way you drag, it will begin to morph your character's appearance to be like the preset direction that you're dragging it to. So if you drag to the left, the face starts morphing to be like the preset that you put on the left side of the circle. You can do this on several different really specific parts of the face. It's a really cool and impressive system to have in a game, and that really allows you to take different features from different presets to create something completely new out of them. The Sculpt tab allows you to sculpt different sections of the face and the body. It lets you touch up on several different areas for further customization. The white areas represent all the different places of the body that you can grab and drag to change the size and even shape of things. On the face, you can really work in detail on things such as your character's nose, and you'll notice these dots that have now popped up. And with these dots, you can basically click on each of them individually and drag and shift them around for really crazy customization. And that's what we were shown for the Alpha 2 character creator. Honestly, I thought it was really cool. Never expected it to be that cool, especially for a game in the MMO genre. And I'm just excited to be able to do it before the game launches too, so we can spend maybe potentially weeks just really trying to make that perfect character. All right, I'm going to let some of the character creation footage play out a little bit as I go over to the answers to the Q&A. But before I do that, let me quickly show you guys some of the new character art. Up first is the 3D model for the Vec Orc race, and we actually got to also see the female version. This right here is the first male 3D model for the Pyre Elves, and this elven subrace is obviously very in touch with nature, and you can see this clearly by their appearance, most notably from their majestic antlers. This terrifying sea creature is actually an aquatic raid boss that should be present in the Alpha 2, according to Steven. It'll definitely be interesting to see how we end up fighting this monstrosity. And lastly, this is the Whispering Watcher mount, which combines several different mythical creatures into one. Now on to the answers to the Q&A. There are 3 primary systems that deal with building damage and building destruction in nodes. NPC-driven events in response to story arcs, etc., node sieges, and node wars. If a building is destroyed, a rubble will appear in the spot, and the government has to clear the rubble before constructing a new building. There's a lot of reactive type systems that can interface with nodes in the development of those nodes, and players and governments will have to respond to that to keep services running. If a player deletes his character or leaves the server with a unique or rare item that is limited to 1 per server, that item will be put back into the world where it was first acquired from. Story plots have multiple pivot points to tell a different story based on player decision, cultural representation, and node development. There's several components that can interact with narrative. Have a listen to what Steven said.
Many sandbox MMORPGs, they do not create as much curated content as theme park MMORPGs, and their excuse for doing that is because they incorporate player-driven mechanics. But that's a bit of a cop-out, and it's the opposite approach that we've taken with Ashes of Creation. And the reason for that is, if you give the player a door and there's nothing behind that door, then opening the door is meaningless. So what we have to do is we have to create a very functional story arc system that provides content in many different ways, but is behind a door of world progress or world development that is then executed by the player population. And that's how we construct our narrative systems, essentially.
You're not going to get one set of armor that is situationally relevant for every encounter that you may face. You're going to have to succeed in acquiring sets for different purposes. Lore-wise, the capital cities on the planet of Vera are going to be represented by ruins that we will come across. Node cities, which are the ones that we players create and develop, are brand new cities. Some aquatic mounts will have fishing utility. This can be in the form of helping to get out to an area, fish finding capabilities, chumming the area, and there may even be benefits to fishing while mounted on certain aquatic mounts. There's a complex system in place when it comes to raid loot settings. When there's 2 competing raids in an open world dungeon, there's a blended approach to damage done on a boss and also the first tag benefit. So if your raid group tags the boss first, you will get a benefit in the damage overall determination. Right now, a raid group will need 51% of damage done to qualify for the raid loot, and if your raid group tags an enemy first, it might automatically give you a 5 to 10% edge on the overall damage done. And that will be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I cover the Ashes of Creation monthly development update every single month. I participated in the Alpha 1 and did a bunch of content on that, and I plan on doing this, continuing to do this in the future, especially with the Alpha 2. So if you enjoyed what you just saw, consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.